So we are starting our second practice sheet, but it's actually practice sheet number 3. As you remember, you want to solve it on your own piece of paper, your own sheet of notebook paper. Do not try to put your answers on here. I mean, you can put your answers on here, but I still need to see your work attached, okay? The reason is because problems like number 1, you have to show work for, okay? So this was something that we did last week. We did it on our practice sheet, and we had a lesson over it, and that's changing this to a decimal, okay? So remember, on your own paper, I would do this. I would say 4 decimal. Now I need to change this fraction to a decimal. So I'm going to go to my separate sheet of paper, 4 3/8. That looks really wonderful. Let's try again. 4 3/8. And we're going to divide. 3 divided by 8. Okay? So, will 8 go into 3? No. So I put decimal, 0. Will 8 go into 30? And of course it will. So if you don't know your 8s, you should list them to the side. Count up by 8 carefully so that you don't mess up. Like I just wrote there, that should be an 8. Rewrite that. 48, 56, 64, 72. Take your time. I don't care if you're counting up on your fingers. It makes no difference to me. Okay? Now, will 8 go into 30? Look over here. That's too much. 32 is too much. So it only goes in 1, 2, 3 times. 3. Remember, does McDonald's sell burgers? So the divide, multiply, 3 times 8, 24, subtract. So don't forget, some of you are forgetting you have to regroup. This becomes a 10, this becomes a 2. Or you can say 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So when you subtract, you get 6. Okay? Now I have a remainder. Okay, so I have to put another 0 and pull it down. Okay? So I'm starting back over with divide. 8 into 60. So that's too much. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, which is then multiplied. 7 times 8. 56, which I then subtract, and I get, you can count up if you want to, you can regroup, whatever, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. When I subtract, I get 4, or regroup, however is easiest for you. 0, pull it down, and I'm going to do, after bring down, I go back to division, 8 into 40. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that should be exact. Okay? So now this isn't my answer. That's just a fraction. So my answer, I'm going to go back to my, where I was putting my answer. And again, this is on your own notebook paper, so just however you're making it where I can see it. Okay? 0.375. 0.375. I want you to darken this with pen and put a box around it. Darken that with pen so that I can see it. Okay? Now, number 2. I told you you were going to remember this definition. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Say it with me. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So our number here, I'll come back to this, our number is 60%. So 60% I'm going to take it and compare it to 100. Okay. Now, this is a pretty good fraction. I know the numbers look big. If you can do this in your head without doing this, that's completely okay. If I see something like this, the first thing I do is I cross off those zeros. It's basically like dividing by 10 over 10. Okay? 60 divided by 10 is 6. 100 divided by 10 is 10. And then I need to simplify further. Okay, I'm going to divide by 2 over 2. And I'm doing that, guys, because these are both even. If you do not know any other number, but they're even, go on and divide by 2. Dividing by 2 is like taking half. So 3/5. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm glad we're doing number 3 now, because number 3 is 28 over 9. And so let's do that. 28 over 9. And it says make it a mixed number. That means divide. Okay? Now again, if you do not know your tables, write them out. Now 9s are easy. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If this was my STAR test and I don't know my 9s, guess what I'm going to write? I'm going to write them out. Okay? So 9 into 28 goes 3 times without being too big. Now remember, I do not, oh, by the way, 9 doesn't go into 2, so I can hold that spot. So 3 times 9, 27. I do not want to make this a decimal. I don't want it to be a decimal. I'm going to make it a mixed number. So my remainder becomes the numerator. It goes on top. And my denominator does not change. The only way that denominator would change would be if the fraction would simplify, which it can't. 1 does not simplify. So 3 1/9. Darken that with your pen right now. Darken that with your pen. Make sure I can see it and put a box around it. And then we'll be doing some other problems.